The following contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
You can't miss it as you drive on North Gay Street towards the on-ramp to the JFX. This billboard from PETA, followed by a message that those landlords in the city practice humane removal of rats. PETA's president saying through a statement, quote, PETA encourages building managers to evict unwanted tiny tenants using only effective, non-lethal methods.
I don't know how you humanely get rid of a rat. I was born and raised over on the Eastern Shore of Maryland on a farm. And when rats came, it was only one thing that happened with them. They went down, and they went down hard.
Hello, boys. Mark.
I just pooped and it smells fabulous.
Lowell.
Welcome to my latest experiment. This is a big one.
It's the Mark and Lowell Show,
It was a show just for me and you, much like this podcast.
where two guys bring you stories and opinions
Our listeners will not laugh.
But if we laugh, then people will laugh.
built on 30 years of friendship.
You were singing operatically.
Yeah, while you were taking the camera.
And I was zooming in.
zooming in on my crotch.
Yes.
Along with a regular cast of pals to help them remember it all.
Camp is the best.
Get your shit together.
All right, so back to your swamp ass.
Say ho.
Now, here's Mark and Lowell.
Hello and welcome, everybody, to the Mark and Lowell Show. I am your host, Mark Ronick, and here with me, as always, my co-host, Lowell Melser. Hello, Lowell.
Hey, what's so funny?
What's funny is my misfire a minute ago. I believe that's why Jonah's laughing at me.
Yeah, you had this pregnant, constipated look on your face of about to hello and hey.
Yeah, a little misfire. Sorry, Benty.
My misfire.
So, hey, Lowell, we have the gang all back together again. We've got Lisa Runyon. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, boys.
And we've got Jonah Berger. Hello, Jonah.
Say, brothers, what's happening?
Welcome back. You are back from a week of directing the CMT Summer Sleepaway Camp.
Camp Footprint, baby. Camp Footprint.
And how was it?
It could not have been better. Real camp, as Lowell and I like to call it. Real camp.
So it was like you were just Marty, you were your father for a week?
Nah, well, yes, but then we did the sing down this year. It was the first time we did sing down at Footprint.
Yeah.
That was a staple activity at Ramblewood, and that was like one of my dad's favorite because it was like dad in the middle of a giant gym full of people and doing his Marty thing.
Yeah, as your MC.
Yeah. And the prime announcing of the winner between the two teams who it could go either way. And whichever team he was looking at, you knew they were the losers because he'd look at one team and be like, and the winner is, and then he'd point behind him with both thumbs.
Right.
And the other team would take it. And so I asked one of my counselors to record when I did the exact same thing with my camp a generation later.
Did you? Can you please share that? Because I would actually love to see it.
Well, so we did play it on the egg at the end of the last show. Yes,
That's
we
funny.
did. And we compared it to your dad, the video that we have of your dad doing that very same game. Because Lowell had said it really seemed like you might have been doing it more for us and the camera than for the kids.
100% more for you.
Yeah, because like you really turned on your Marty
Oh,
voice.
of course, man. It was all for you. I forgot about my camp for 30 seconds, but yeah, it was worth it.
I will say the winner was not Team 3. The winner was definitely not Team 1. Team 4. The winner of the 2019 first annual Sing Down contest. It's about to get wild. Is Team 2.
Team 4 had 14 points. Team 5 had 11 points. Team 6 had 14 points. Obviously, at the moment, Team 4 and Team 6 are tied. With bonus point, Team 6.
That was just like a personal flair in the world of camp that day for your friends.
Absolutely.
Right,
That's
exactly.
absolutely what it was.
Well, and for folks that don't know, the Sing Down, you know, you were mentioning it was one of the big evening activity nights.
Right.
At our sleepaway camp, where it was basically they split the camp up into like 8 or 9 teams, maybe.
Teams,
Yep.
yeah.
The object of the game was they would be like, all right, come up with songs with the color blue. But,
Right.
but they wouldn't even be that. That's even too hard sometimes. Like,
Days
at
of the week
first couple of rounds would be like super easy.
Yeah, real softballs.
Love.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Songs with love. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you would huddle as a team for like 5 minutes maybe.
To make a
and
list.
you would just write down a list of songs.
You wrote the songs down, but then as it went around, each team had to sing the 2 or 3 lines that had that word in it.
Right.
And then any other team that had that song on their list had to cross it off of their
out.
list.
What's frustrating as a counselor, being a counselor within this event, is you know so many songs,
So
but
many.
like the kids don't know the
Yeah.
songs. So
Right.
like when it starts getting thinner and thinner, you
Yeah.
start hitting up your songs and like maybe like 3 kids are
Yeah.
singing the song.
You have like 22 seconds to teach a group of 20 kids how to sing a song they've
Yeah.
never heard before.
Right. It gets real. That's when it gets really good.
I know,
Yeah.
that is when it gets good.
Because like it'll be like you'll do it, and really it's like you and one other camper are singing the song. That there's like one
Yeah,
camper
it's
that
your
knows
one.
it.
It's your one hippie camper
Yeah.
that knows this obscure Zeppelin song or something.
And then everyone's like, no, the team doesn't know it, no.
Right.
And then like everyone
Right.
like gets all mad and hot, and Marty's got to be like, no point.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And then there's outrage.
Oh, that's where point comes from?
Yo,
Yes.
point.
Yes.
Absolutely,
I know
that's where it
point.
comes
I know
from.
point. but
So
I
yes,
didn't
for
know
those
that's
of
exactly
those
where-
of you
okay.
Yeah.
who don't know point, so one of the things Marty would do is he would yell point if you earned your point during the sing down, and that has become kind of a phrase that we say all the time. If you make a good point, for example,
Yeah.
we will
Point.
award you that
Point.
point.
Yeah.
We still award points.
Yeah, the sing down was great because it could get pretty like towards the end.
It gets intense.
It gets
And I have
intense.
to tell you, we did it a little different. I didn't award the points or no points. We had the program staff were the judges. There's 5 of them, and so they were at the judges' table. They had giant poster boards with point, half point, 2 points, and 3 points.
Oh, that's an interesting twist.
Yeah, they gave actual like flair to the teams who went over the top. They got 3 points. Teams who like did it but shooted it.
Yeah.
Half point.
It's adapted with the times. It's
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
because of all the judging shows.
That's right. It's all
yeah.
judges.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I facilitated the room, but the judges awarded the points.
So you were the Ryan Seacrest. And
I was
they
the
were
Seacrest, correct.
Yeah.
But it went great. It was prime camp, man.
Now I have a bone to pick with the prize, though.
Oh yeah, you didn't like the
Prize was.
I don't remember. What was the prize?
It's tomorrow at the campfire. You can spray me with whipped cream in the face.
What?
No,
That
no.
was the prize?
That's
Yeah.
Lowell's version of the prize.
Wait, pull it up. Pull
All
up
right,
the text.
yes, it is the accurate item, but the presentation of the item was completely misrepresented. We have a tradition now that has started at our camp that Gina and Jonah, she's like my co-director. We only do a special activity one night. The other nights we already have things we do. So the winner of that activity, their whole cabin gets to come up with pies and hit Gina and I in the face. So that's what they won. That group got to hit us with pies.
Yeah, I'd much rather have a pizza pie
Yeah, of course-
at the
of course. Well-
local pizza parlor.
You're right, but that's
That
video
would be
night.
a lot better.
I think we got like extra canteen or something.
Yeah, you got something decent.
Definitely decent. But we were also there for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We're there for 2 half days and 3 full days. Kids are much easier to please when you have them quick.
Yeah, because like when we're at camp, and yeah, if you win video night,
You go out into town. You get
into
bussed
town.
Into town for pizza.
yeah, to Bonatempos. That's like a
Bonatempos.
big deal.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I have a
Whoa.
picture of me and Jamie from Bonatempos.
Yeah.
Her cabin and my cabin won.
That was a big deal.
It was a
that
big
was like
deal.
a huge deal.
Oh yeah. And you got a full on pizza party.
Yeah, and everyone at camp was so mad.
So
that
jealous, and you'd bring back like
so mad.
bring back crust to
Yeah.
like show the campers next door. You'd be like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
brought you some chewed up crust. You want some? You want some pepper packets? What you need?"
Yeah, some pepper packets.
Hey, I just want to remind everybody, our sponsor, Tweaked Audio. Go to tweakedaudio.com. I haven't really said this enough, if at all, whenever I talk about Tweaked Audio. I always tell you about their great earbuds and the different types of earbuds that they have, but I haven't really told you, if you use our code MANDL, M-A-N-D-L, you get 33% off. You get a third off whatever you purchase there. So it's a really good deal to give it a try. And everything already is pretty inexpensive. You can even get their version of the Apple AirPods, their own model, which look very similar and a lot cheaper. And then you use that discount and you'll be pretty happy. So please check them out. That's tweakedaudio.com. Use our code MANDL, M-A-N-D-L.
You want to hear something kind of random?
Yes.
Megan and I are laying in bed the other morning. Laying in bed the other morning.
Oh.
Too much information.
Cue the music. So Megan and I, right, we're laying in bed the other morning.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and she goes, randomly, she goes, I saw this candle the other day that smelled like a campfire, and I almost bought it for you. It was the best stinky candle. I was like, you should have. She said it was too expensive. Out of nowhere, she goes, Mark and Lowell should make candles. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, Mandels. It could smell like the 80s, camp, and duty. And I was like, that is a great idea. Three Mandels. I'll buy an
Mandel
80s.
candles.
Mandels
Mandels Candles has a ring to it.
I thought it was a good idea.
Men scented. Manly men.
She mockingly and partially celebratorily was like, it could smell like the 80s, camp, and duty.
You know, I think I remember hearing something about this on 98 Rock. I think there are already Mandels.
Are there?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because they smell like men.
Yeah, because I think
something.
Scott likes candles,
Mandels.
and they were taught. Yeah, and that, like Mandels. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
think that already might be a thing. You have to Google it, but I'm pretty sure it's a thing.
Mandels candles.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, let's just keep knocking down all the great ideas, and I'll get to that in a little bit.
Another one bites the dust.
Just-
Well, here, I it's made its way to the Mark and Lowell show. I never thought you would hear this song ever played on the Mark and Lowell show, but
Sad day.
so I'm playing this just because if you follow Lowell now on TikTok,
Yes.
yeah, he's a big TikTok guy all of a sudden now.
Okay.
Trying to build my brand.
Yeah, if you go and check that out, he sampled the Baby Shark cereal.
Yes.
In the video, you take a bite and you don't have a very convincing face. So I'm guessing you didn't love it. So then my question would be to compare a taste to it. Would you say it's better than, equal to, or worse than the Baby Shark song?
Interesting.
I mean, it's right up there with it. I mean,
Yeah, okay. That's what I
it's
figured.
you know what it is? It's by Kellogg's and it's Fruit Loops with marshmallows in it. That's pretty much
Really?
what it is. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't sound bad, to be honest.
No, it's not bad. I mean,
Hey, kids, here's a bowl of sugar to get your day started just right.
yeah. I mean, it's fine. I would eat it again, but it was just meh,
Right.
They just like, what can we do? All right, throw some Fruit Loops and get those marshmallows, put it in a box.
Right.
Boom.
Taco Bell is selling shredded cheddar now. Did you see that? It's in the grocery store, in your local grocers.
Oh, it's their own
Taco
brand.
Bell shredded cheddar.
Straight. Is that how they sell it?
Yes,
Shredded
it's
cheddar.
called shredded cheddar. I do have a bone to pick, a Loops bone
A
with
Loops
y'all.
bone to pick. Yeah.
My wife has become thoroughly addicted to Oreos.
Oh, that is not good. That is not good.
And you're blaming us?
Oh, I am fully blaming you because I got off the show 2 weeks ago and she's like, what y'all talking about? I was like, Oreos. And she's like, Oreos suck. And I was like, Oreos rule.
What?
She
Didn't
comes
you say
home-
her father is like a Oreo
No,
fanatic?
She didn't say Oreos suck. I have to
Okay.
admit to the listeners,
Okay.
I made that
Okay.
part up. But
You're embellishing the
she
story.
was not that excited about the Oreo topic, and then she comes home 2 days later with peanut butter pie Oreos.
Oh, dear.
They have a peanut butter swirl and a chocolate swirl inside.
Oh, that sounds good.
Okay.
They are very good, A. And B, she ate 70% of the pack.
Oh, dear.
And I was like, all right, we got it out of our system. Nice. And 2 days later, there is a red velvet pack of Oreos in our cupboards.
Yeah.
And
Well.
she ate, well, I'll say I ate about 50% of those because those turn out, I thought they would suck. Those are very good. They're actually very good. They have a cream cheese filling.
So now I have a problem. It used to be my problem with Oreo was enough already. We get it. You can
Yeah.
make a lot of interesting flavors. But then they reeled me in between the s'mores and then the mint chocolate chip ice cream flavor.
Which were very
I was like,
good.
all right, I'm all in. But the problem is
can't
now
get
I
them
don't
now.
like it because they make so many that they don't keep them on the shelves
No,
long enough.
I've never seen s'mores. Not once.
Yeah, they're like kind of limited edition, I guess.
They they say it on the
took
packaging,
me a while to
but
find them.
but it's like 2 weeks and that's it. They're gone
There's
after
a
that.
window.
You know, and then they had those Game of Thrones ones, too. You remember when
Oh
those
yeah,
came out?
No, I
I do
didn't.
not.
I didn't.
It was
what would
like-
those taste like?
It wasn't
no,
like it was just like the imprint in the cookie was like the different.
It was
houses.
all the different family
Characters.
crests
Oh,
were
nice.
imprinted on the cookie part.
So 2 days ago, we're getting close to finishing the red velvet box or package, and I'm like, all right, good. We'll finally wrap up this cookie craze we've been on.
Nape.
I come home last night from work, and I mean 1 day later, and and there is a bag of Chips Ahoy s'mores cookies.
What?
Which turn out suck balls. They are they are soft
Because they're
baked
Chips Ahoy.
Chips Ahoy. They're soft baked Chips Ahoy with chunks of chocolate and marshmallow inside.
Soft baked cookies kind of freak me out because it's like, why are they soft?
Exactly the point.
Lots of preservatives in there.
I gotta tell you, there were like 6 cookies left. She goes, and I quote, "They suck. Don't judge me," first she says, and then she goes, "They suck." And I lift up the package and it's light as a feather and I go, "They suck."
dear.
And I open it up and there's literally 6 cookies left.
Oh, dear.
I ate all 6 today.
You got to have an intervention,
I
man.
think there's going to have to be an intervention.
Yeah, you ain't pregnant anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Let's reel it in, champ.
It's not when we need to be eating boxes of cookies every day.
They are hard to resist, I gotta
think I
say.
hear my child crying. Hold on one second.
Okay. While he's going, I will ask you, Lowell, speaking of the TikTok earlier. Yes, I know you're working on your brand. So tell me a little bit about TikTok because I will admit I have been looking at it because I saw you joined it. I knew that your sister has used it on occasion. I know even like her daughter uses it. So I wanted to see what it was all about. I'm not sure I entirely get it yet because all I see on the feed, because I don't follow a lot of people, it just gives
Right.
me some generic
Right,
feed.
random.
It's all like 15 and 16-year-old model-looking girls doing some kind of sexy little dance or something.
and it just like repeats it, right?
And it
It's just,
repeats
like,
it.
Just,
It's like an 8-second thing.
Yeah, you can put like what you like. So I put sports, people messing around on the job, and comedy.
But I swear I did not put 15 and 16-year-old
no,
hot girls.
Sure you
it
didn't.
filters that. It filters that
Sure
out.
you didn't.
It filters that out. But occasionally they get in the feed because they hashtag it like on one of the things that you're interested in when their video has nothing to do with what you want to see. So when it, immediately you can see it's like a 15 or 16-year-old girl. I just swipe past it to the next
Right.
video. Yeah.
Sure you do.
Sure you do.
Sure you did.
Yeah, sure you do.
after I watched the little sexy dance a couple times.
Yeah, like 25 to 30 times.
Right.
Then I let it go.
Just until I've memorized like all the moves.
For those of you who don't understand, that was called a joke. Lowell does not sit and watch 15 and 16-year-old girls for 25, 30 times at a time.
Now back to the show.
No, I've done a pretty good job of filtering it out. You have to just set your categories and make that your feed.
Okay.
So mostly it's like sports bloopers, comedy stuff, people fucking around on the job. Oh, and cops. There's a cops thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a lot of There's a lot of cops on there that do like funny little skits and stuff like that. So
it feels like it's taken over for that old one that you used to do all
Vine.
the time. Vine,
It's just like Vine.
Yeah.
It's just like Vine. It's like the same thing, but you can do the videos. You can do 15-second videos with music and then 60 seconds without.
And so what are you liking better? Because you're also using Instagram a lot more now too.
Yeah, I'll post just whatever I do on there on Instagram, or I'll just do Instagram too.
All right, so listen, we were going to go in a direction tonight where we're kind of going to do a state of the podcast thing, but more really with just each other. We were thinking about pulling back the curtain and just kind of talking about what's the future hold for the Mark and Lowell show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here we are. I'm on the fence whether or not now is the time to do it.
Well, I mean, but I guess it doesn't have to be a super long conversation.
That's true.
That's also true.
The bottom line is, I think, Mark and I kind of have found ourselves at a little bit of a crossroads here.
Not with each other.
Right. Not with each other.
I can't
Not with each other.
stand this motherfucker anymore.
But we've had some conversations off air on where this is all going and what's it all doing, and we're getting a little frustrated because the audience isn't really growing.
We've got growth, but it's just minimal. I mean, it continues to grow, but it's just not
booming.
It's not super growth. It's minimal growth.
Right, minimal growth. We'll be honest.
But don't you think, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I love to do the show, but it's no skin off my nose to do it. I
Right.
show up every, whenever you tell me you're doing it, and I
Right.
go home when I'm done.
Right.
It's not hard for me. I love it. But I also think anything that you're doing is going to be like that at first, right?
Yeah, but this ain't at first.
No, but what I'm saying is
it's been years.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 5 years now.
No, Lowell.
Yeah.
7
years.
It feels not a day past 6.5.
Come the new year, it's 7.
Right.
So here's the deal. We're getting as much as we put into it. That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
We put in, quite frankly, I put in a lot of time to prep the show, orchestrate the show, and then the post-production part. But as far as really trying to make this thing grow, we're doing nothing.
Right.
We're not
trying new things, you're saying.
Right.
or-
And yeah, exactly. We're not trying new things. I think we've actually had some great shows over the past 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've had some really funny, good shows. So it's not that I think we have poor content. I just think we have no direction. So I have been spending a lot of time and money to take these courses and kind of go back to the beginning, learn this industry again now that it has become a more established industry, because I'm self-taught.
Right.
Yeah, because when we started out, it's we were kind of pioneers. There were not nearly as many podcasts as there are now.
Right.
But there's a lot that started when we did who are extremely successful and making tons of money.
Tons of money.
And are much worse than our show, but yet we are here and got nothing to show for it.
Right. It's a great part-time gig.
Yeah.
So that's where we struggle. What do we want this to be? What do we want to do? Do we want it just to be a little part-time gig and be happy with that? Or do we want to grow? Do we want to make this a living somehow? Who knows what it could turn into? But if we want it to turn into something, we've got to do something about it.
Right.
One of the things that I've started to learn, very successful podcasts in many cases are ones that have a niche. There's something very specific about the show, but you don't have to have a Joe Rogan podcast size audience to make a lot of money on a podcast.
Right.
And that's what I've kind of always known, but I'm coming to grips with now.
Is the finances of a podcast directly related to the number of people who are listening?
It can be, but it's also, that's kind of the misconception, because we just think more about traditional radio. It doesn't work like that. You can have a smaller audience and you could make 6 figures
if they're very public about their love of the show.
Well, no, it's just you have a niche audience. Anyone that's going to be in that selected group of fans are going to be super fans and want to support the show and will buy all the products you tell them to buy just to support the show.
Interesting.
So you don't need 1 million listeners.
No.
You need you could get less than 1/10 of that.
Right.
And be very, very successful.
And like Headwater, we were able to play pretty sizable clubs in Denver because we brought a crowd of devoted listeners. We weren't that good, but we played We played clubs, man, because our listeners would go anywhere to hear us.
Right, but our show is way better than what Headwater was.
I see. That's below the belt.
Yeah, that's not a great comparison, really.
Yeah, like Headwater. I mean, Headwater.
Don't worry. I could tell by your face when I started saying Headwater that it wasn't a good example.
Headwater, by the way, Jonah's band.
Yeah.
An old band.
Trying, Mark. See, one of the things that we need to fix, appreciation of those who try. Put it out there.
So what's happened is through this learning process that I'm going through, I'm taking genuine courses here. I'm really trying to relearn this whole thing. I've gone through this gigantic emotional roller coaster about the Mark and Lowell show because on one hand, I really believe what we do entertains people thoroughly, right? And we have a loyal group of fans that have been with us from the very beginning, still to this day.
Right.
Truth.
And that says a lot, right?
And the fact that it hasn't grown is just all on us.
Truth.
Because we haven't done anything about it. We haven't worked at all for an audience, right? We're just been working for the same audience, right? But the thing is, so if we really want to monetize this thing and make it what it's supposed to be, we're not a niche. So do we have to rethink what this show is to make it successful? Do we become something more niche?
I mean, I always thought that our niche was like the best friend thing or like the camp thing, but that's like not enough?
Well, camp is, but we don't consistent. I mean, camp is always coming in and out of the show, but it is not the main thing. Like the main thing is just us talking and catching up and getting into topics. But if what you're talking about, one option would be, let's say the camp niche, make the show about camp, bring on other camp directors, bring on people who talk about their camps from back in the days, do more camp-related things.
Right. So then I struggle because as a listener, if I'm putting myself in the listener's shoes, I don't want that. Because as a regular Mark and Lowell listener, I want the whole thing.
Sure.
That's why they listen, right?
Right. I want those embarrassing stories when Mark shits his pants in the parking lot.
Truth.
Right.
So it has to still have that element too. And so that, welcome to my struggle now, because it's like, where does this show go?
No, and it's important. It's important that we have the Mark shit himself in the mall, or the Mark shit himself in the
at the zoo.
It's as serious as I've seen Lowell in 2 years, and he goes, "Yes, but guys, it's really important that we have Mark shitting himself at the mall."
But that's the thing. Like that's what I feel like this show is like this.
Right.
This is just like life. Like I love this show, and I think other people listen to the show, and I read all those comments that people posted.
Yeah, so that is for those of you, for our loyal listeners who have the Mandel Fans Facebook group. I had posted, because I'm working on redefining what the Mark and Lowell show is, or at least explaining it better in a show description. That's one of my steps in this process. So I have not shared this with any of you, including Lowell. Since we're going there, Lowell, this speaks to kind of what you're saying, that maybe our niche, our thing, and we just have to figure out how to find those people. We give a break to people from their own reality and give them a chance to just laugh at ours.
Interesting.
Right.
And one of the things I'm learning, another misconception I had about podcasts, little things like your show description. I always felt like keep it short. Nobody's going to want to read it. If they're checking you out, they're going to see a sentence. If they don't like it, they're gone. And that still may be the case. But the people that you are trying to reach, if they see this, they will stick around and read more to really get a better idea of what this show is. So here is the description. Bear with me. Lifelong friends Mark Ronick and Lowell Melser, along with a cast of old friends, prove that it's okay to laugh at yourself and each other no matter how embarrassing things get. We cover many topics and personal stories, including relationships, careers, parenting, technology, TV shows, movies, and all things 80s and 90s. By the way, I do all of that stuff just for search engine shit.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
You're not the only one facing many of life's challenges, so take a break from your own reality and relate to ours, all while enjoying that familiar feeling of hanging out and catching up with old friends.
Yeah.
That's what I came up with based on my own feelings of the show and based on that Facebook group I just referenced, the Mandel Fans group. I asked everybody, how would you explain the Mark and Lowell show to people? You know, a lot of people came back to how relatable we are, the humor, the friendships.
That's like even how I remember sitting around campfires and having conversations with one another over whatever the topic was of the day. And then because of the way people just come in with timing and this one-liner and that one-liner, just like laughing our asses off.
Right.
And being like, we should be recording this.
Right. And I think a lot of people, and that's where it's relatable, because I think a lot of people have a lot of funny friends or funny stories, and they sit around and laugh and talk about it, and they say, too bad we're not recording this, or, you know, this could be a funny story for a TV show or a podcast. We're doing it.
What I think you need is like a marketing professional. There has to be a way to phrase that in a way that is as unique as
we are.
The content is when we get together. Exactly. Not better or worse than anybody. I mean, we're better than some, sure, but there are other groups that are funny out there, but this is a funny fucking group, man.
Right.
But it has to be labeled.
It took me a long time to come to grips with the idea that, look, I don't have these aspirations anymore that, like, we're going to be the #1 comedy podcast on iTunes. You know, that's not, I don't think that's who we are. We're not professional comedians. We're not professional radio people. You know, Lowell could make a case that he does do professional radio, but not on a day-to-day basis. We don't have our own radio shows. My point is, we're not going to be a Joe Rogan. Hell, we're not going to be, I'll say it, we're not going to be like a Mike O'Mara show or maybe a Big O and Duke's show. Those guys have huge followings. They've had them since their radio days, and I respect that. Whatever bad blood there may or may not be between me and all of them, I respect what they've done.
Right.
And I don't ever expect that I'll necessarily get to that level. They are achieving something pretty impressive.
Right.
But I still believe, I believe we could make more money than a show like theirs with a smaller audience. But it's just a matter of figuring out where that audience is and marketing ourselves the correct way.
Listen, if that we includes me, I'm totally down for...
You're totally down for what?
Doing whatever you need me to do to help do that. Because I love this show, and I do it because I love you guys and love hanging out with you guys, and this is just a time to catch up and hang out, because we can't do that face to face like we used to when we were in our 20s, and we used to do that all the time, and I loved it.
Yeah,
preach.
And so that's why I do this. And so,
right. And
but the thing is, I mean, if I could retire and like do this and like just talk and laugh and have fun and like still make a living, that shit would be awesome.
And so here are some of the other things that we're doing. And there are a lot of other things. Just, you know, everybody can say, oh, if we could only market ourselves, we'll be really successful. Yes, everybody can say that, but there are lots of other things that you got to do, and we are doing those behind the scenes. And a lot of these things are things like being consistent, delivering a show on the same day every fucking week, right? And we don't do that. We admit it, right? So there's a commitment that we have to give to our listeners to give back the same kind of commitment.
Right.
It's just how it works. And we haven't been fair in that regard. Where I'm going with this is one of the behind the scenes steps. I'm meeting with a professional comedy writer, written in Hollywood, written his own stuff. He's our age. He has connections to us.
I went to high school with him.
Yeah,
I did too. Yeah, I know that kid.
I'm going to meet with him so that we can polish this thing. We know when and where we're funny on this show, but if we could have somebody that could really hone what we're doing and help build it out into funnier things, that would be wonderful. And that's what we're hoping this person's going to do. Hell, another cast member never hurts. Have somebody join us every so often.
Right.
It's always a nice touch. So we got lots of exciting things too, but you know, and this isn't to resolve anything today. This is just to kind of be honest with our audience and tell you guys where we're at, and that there is a struggle sometimes here, you know, whether or not we want to do this. But we also know if we're going to ever walk away from it, we got to walk away from it knowing we actually gave it a shot.
Well, the hard part is that in order to find out the true potential of the show, you have to give it its true just desserts. But to do that, you need time and money You know what I mean? Like, if you invest a bunch of time, which we're all limited on, you could take it to another level. If you invest a bunch of money in marketing and in,
So
writers.
my thought is that, and again, through my learning process, we can do a lot more for this show without spending as much time. I think it's just a matter of working smarter, and that's what I'm figuring out right now.
All right, so we know. So that's the update.
That's the state of the podcast.
Right. We're gonna work on it, and so people will probably be noticing some changes as we try and give this a big push. And
we're going to be honest every step of the way and
Yeah.
tell you when and why things are changing, if they're changing. And again, I hope you heard me, everybody, that I meant it, that I know what this show is, and I know what our current audience like about it, and I don't ever want that to go away. So don't take that
that's
as
not.
a...
Yeah, it's not. This will stay the same, but there's
just structure
could be some
and
different things. Yeah,
exactly. But let's leave on a little bit of a lighter note because...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, I
All
know.
right.
I know.
It's a little late.
I know, but I just feel bad because one of the segments we did have planned today was about when you were a kid getting caught getting in trouble. And the reason why I will edit this out for everybody else, I'm sorry, but I wanted to tell you guys, I will be vague at first, but you're going to miss some of this, everybody. One of our kids recently was staying at their dad's house, and the dad woke up and the kid wasn't there. The kid had left the house in the middle of the night.
Oh, the sneak out.
Oh, no.
So it made me think about it, like, have you ever been in a situation like that as a kid where you did something you shouldn't have done and then you get caught? Or did you get away with it brilliantly? So that was on the table. So I wanted to see first if you guys recall anything like that.
I snuck out.
I got caught for everything. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Jonah got caught for everything.
Everything.
Some of it was his
Yeah.
own dumb fault, though.
No question.
But
Most of it.
Yeah, I got him in trouble once.
Right.
I snuck out once, and the only reason I got caught was because I drank so much that I was so sick the next day.
Oh, yeah. So that was your punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah, I remember a couple times showing up to my house wasted from being like at some field party at school.
Drinking the Mad Dog.
Yeah, or whatever. And yeah, there was no hiding that.
No.
As much as you tried, there was no hiding that.
I mean, we talked about this years ago on the show, I'm sure, but there was that time when we had that hotel party. It was after camp, and all the counselors got together at a hotel and partied it up, which we often did. Lowell just had way too much Mad Dog that
Yeah.
night. And I remember I had to take you home.
I said to you, I'm like, you got to take me home, man.
Yeah.
Whoever had just enough Mad Dog? No one. Mad Dog
Yeah.
sucks. You drink it to get plowed.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Fast, too. 'Cause
Yes.
It tastes like cough syrup.
I was chorosed. I don't even know what word that is.
What does that mean?
Chorosed on Mad Dog 2020. Many's the hotel room.
But I will give you a couple of others that our listeners had shared, little things, and chime in anytime if it sparks anything for you guys. Mark Levy had said, parents were away and I wanted to drive to Philly. I unscrewed the speedometer from under the car so they wouldn't see the mileage. Of course, I didn't know how fast I was going, but that's a ballsy one. I mean, you got to think he had to have seen Ferris Bueller's.
Right, like
to see-
knowing that there
to
was
do
like
that.
some sort of F up with that.
Oh, you have the story from Jerry,
I
right?
have Jerry's, yeah. Jerry Hillman. He said when he was about 10 or 11, his dad forbid him from hanging out with this older boy who was a known troublemaker in his neighborhood. And this kid wanted him to try out his homemade wooden go-kart, which in hindsight being 2020 looked more like a Pine Derby reject. But because he wasn't really that popular in school, he jumped at the chance of someone wanting to hang out with him, and he totally ignored his dad. So he gets in the cart and he felt the cart bow in the middle
Oh, God.
a little bit when he sat down. Should have been his warning, but he didn't take it. And so the kid pushed him on a downhill dirt road. One of the front wheels hit a rut, making it snap off, making the axle bite into the ground. And the momentum caused the rest of the whole cart to flip over with him in it.
Oh my God.
And so he skinned the entire left side of his body when he hit the dirt, and the cart landed on top of him.
Sweet Lord.
I know. I'm thankful he was able to walk home, but he was bruised up and really bloody. And that kid was laughing hysterically at him. Once he got home, his dad just looked at him and shook his head and told him to get in the shower and clean himself up. And he swears his dad knew that, something
that shit was
bad
going to
happen. But
that reminds me, Lowell and I always talk about this, the dad nod.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The pat on the back, dad nod. Yeah.
See, you just gave the dad nod where it's a pat. That's like the positive
Oh, yeah.
dad
Okay.
nod.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Because
yeah,
there are
yeah.
different dad nods. Because then there's
Right.
also the dad nod, the I told you
Yeah,
so
the I
dad
told
nod,
you
which is
so.
what
Yeah.
this guy was talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. The positive dad nod is so much better.
Right, so much better. It's like when you've figured out something for the first time, or you figured out how to fix something or
Right.
whatever, you get the dad pat
they look
nod.
up and they look at you and you're like, yeah, good job.
Yeah,
That's the happy
you did
dad
it,
nod.
son.
No, but we did, and there was the dad shake too.
Shake?
Yeah, the grab your arm and
Oh, yeah.
give you the, we used to do that.
Yeah,
to
when
each
you get
other.
when you get in trouble.
No, it was a positive. It was positive. It was like
Oh, the shake?
no, like grab the arm, but instead of a pat on the back, it's a grabbing of the arm and
You
and
like
shake.
rustle the
Yeah,
shoulder
rustle
kind of
the
thing.
shoulder.
Oh,
Yeah,
that one.
like good
Yeah.
job, son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
See, again, I went to
It's
the
a pat and
negative.
rub.
Yeah,
I went
pat and
right to
rub.
the negative and thinking like my mom would like grab me and she would. Maybe this is the difference in our childhoods. My
No, I
mom
would
would
get
grab
that
me
too.
and she would like talk to me real tight up close to my face, and she would clench her teeth and
Oy.
you knew you were in trouble
Right,
then, buddy.
Well, you and Jamie have talked about that before. You guys would get the shake every once in a while when you'd get
Yeah.
in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
All been there.
And then there was also always that kid in the neighborhood that was always the bad kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That you were like, you either knew to avoid it or your parents said, avoid that.
Don't hang out.
Don't hang
Maybe
out with that
avoid
kid.
one.
Yeah, I had a kid in my neighborhood that I borrowed his slingshot.
Uh,
I think I told this story on the show a long time ago. My parents were out, and we were with a babysitter during the day, and I shot like a rock in the air. And it like just disappeared. And then a couple seconds later, we heard this huge glass breaking. And then like about an hour later, there were cops in the neighborhood like walking around going, does anyone know?
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then like me, I must have been like 8 or something, and I saw the cop and I knew I did it, and I totally broke down.
Hey, kid, I want you to spill your guts. Tell us everything. Everything?
Okay, I'll talk. In 3rd grade, I cheated on my history exam. In 4th grade, I stole my Uncle Max's toupee and I glued it on my face when I played Moses in my Hebrew school play. In 5th grade, I knocked my sister Edie down the stairs and I blamed it on the dog.
Freaked out.
I did it. It was a slingshot, and I
You
did
broke
it.
the hammer.
Yeah. And I just remember I was so worried
Terrified.
about what my parents were going to say and all that
Yes.
stuff and everything. I was so wiped out that they didn't like yell at me or anything. It was
Right,
Like, what-
no puni-
what-
you
at
had
that
your
point-
punishment.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like, what
Yeah.
are you going to do? But I was like
Right.
not allowed to play with that kid anymore at all.
I had a similar vibe, Lowell. I gave Elon the finger from my back window. I was upstairs in the townhouse and he was out on the playground playing and he was giving me the finger, so I gave him the finger back and he picked up a handful of rocks and threw them at my house and it shattered the back slider door downstairs.
Oh,
And
yeah.
The entire neighborhood was standing around waiting for it to break out, and the fire department had to come and bust out the door. My parents were out. They were out to dinner, and we were with a babysitter. Elon got the
Oh,
train
that would be
track
the
that
worst
day.
babysitter
And
job ever.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Berger. This is Jody, and I just want to let you know that
Jody.
your black door is like busted out, and the entire fire department is here right now.
My parents walked out the door once, and I was so upset. I was a little kid. I ran upstairs, and the babysitter ran after me, and I closed my parents' door and locked it. And I went to my mom's desk and got it. She had a bottle of paint thinner. I don't know why, but in her desk, and I drank it.
What?
I've never told you this story.
You drank paint thinner?
I drank paint thinner. I was very upset when my parents would leave the house. I had a rough childhood. And
Did you know that story, Lowell?
No, I did not know that.
this is the seminal story of my little kid. And the babysitter couldn't get the door open, so she went and got Lou from the next door. Our next door neighbor was a fireman, and he came over and he busted out my parents' door, and I was sitting on the floor just messing around. I didn't feel sick or anything, and he saw the bottle on the thing open. He's like, "Did you drink this?" And I said, "Yeah." And he scooped me up and put me in the back of his car and took me to the hospital. And my parent, about a half hour later, they put a tube down my throat and pumped my stomach.
Wow.
And then they started giving me lollipops, and about a half hour later, my dad came running down the hall in a pink tuxedo. They were at some fancy thing that night, and it was
wow.
This was like circa 1977.
Sounds pretty fancy with the pink tuxedo.
Yeah.
Pink tuxedo. He came running down the hall.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a rough night for my babysitter.
So let me tell you what I got away with that is pretty awesome.
Okay.
My parents were divorced, and my dad moved to Michigan like when I was a teenager. So my mom and everyone in my family would send me gifts to Michigan for Christmas. And I was home one day, and the package came. My stepmom was not home. It's addressed to me. I opened this whole box of gifts, and I'm like, sweet
God.
Jesus, right? I was so excited.
Motherload.
She calls from across the street. She's seen the UPS truck drop it off, and she's like, do not open those gifts.
Oh, no.
And in my head, I'm like, these are my fucking gifts, right?
Yeah, but you hadn't opened them yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
I opened the box.
You
and
opened the box, saw the gifts, but you didn't open the
Open any of the gifts. I took a razor blade.
Oh, my God.
I sliced open the Scotch tape, unwrapped the gifts,
Wow.
checked them out, rewrapped, same fold, put a new piece of tape over the old piece of tape. I was like...
And never got caught?
Never got caught.
Wow.
Nice.
Never got caught. Yeah.
Wow.
Good move.
Thank you.
All right. That will do it for the Mark and Lowell Show. Please go to Facebook, go to Twitter, friend and follow us over there. And if you need that information or any other information, Mark and Lowell, just go to markandlowell.com.
You can check me out on TikTok.
Oh.
Newsmaker22, and then all the Instagrams.
Excuse me. Double me.
And a special thanks to Lisa Runyon.
Bye, boys.
She ain't lying.
Yeah. No lying.
And thank you to Jonah Berger.
Hey, if you want to get me on www. Maybe we should try the Jonah and Lisa Show.com.
And a big shout out to Buzz Burbank, RJ Diaz, Aaron Lamb, and everybody else who helps us with this show. For Lowell Meltzer, I'm Mark Ronick. We will see you next time on the Mark and Lowell Show.
Bye-bye.
Do you have a preference of platforms?
Nah, just, you know, whatever's hot. Whatever the
Whatever's
hot thing
working.
is. Just trying to get more followers, you know.
Yeah, your sister's hot on the Instagram.
Well, that's her job, you know.
Yeah, I mean, she's
Yeah.
made that a whole brand for herself.
Yeah, I think she's almost at like 100,000 followers or something.
Yeah, she's damn close.
Whatever. I'm at 98,000. I mean, that ain't that big a deal. You know.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have any followers.
Well, Lisa, yeah, but you keep a more private social media profile, I
I'm
feel
just
like.
not like into the social media
Right,
that much.
right.
At all.
Except we always know when Lisa's at her workout appointment.
I did not
we
post
know
on
that.
Monday. I
Oh.
totally forgot to post on Monday.
And that's what it
See?
always is. That's what I tease you on Facebook.
know.
Lisa posts whatever it is
Like,
every
late
day,
check-in.
every week.
Oops, almost forgot to check in.
Ooh, I almost forgot to check in. I worked out today, and I think that's because they ask you to do that,
I
right?
mean, they ask us to do. There's like it's a cause, right? So like that hashtag helps to support a cause. So right now it's like bricks for schools or something like that. So each time I post that and check in, each person I tag, 10 tags or 10 check-ins buys 1 brick for a school in a underdeveloped
All right,
country.
so you're doing it for a good
So I'm
cause.
totally
All
doing
right.
it for a good cause.
I
I'm
like
not doing
that.
it to brag.
That's fine. And then you're using it for good.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Not just to be like, hey, look at me, I worked out. Hey, everybody, I worked out.
I wish you had told me that like a year ago, because a little piece of me every time I see that is like, hey, everybody, I worked out.
Okay. Well,
Just a little
Yeah.
piece.
Just a little bit.
5%. If we're being honest, 5%. But I
Yeah.
swear I would not even give it 5% if I had known that before.
now you know.
Now I know.